Good evening, guys. Welcome to another series of web development. In this lesson, what we want to do is to continue where we stop in our website design and move forward to the next thing. What we want to do today in today's class is trying to bring in Bootstrap. If you remember, the way we brought in Bootstrap was through CSS. There are other things that Bootstrap does, apart from the fact that it's a framework for good CSS platform. You can actually use it for other things like JavaScript functionality, like in this case, having this menu effect. So we need to be able to do that with Bootstrap. And that's where JavaScript comes to play. Having said that, we're going to look at how we're going to bring this in using React to bring this in. The other thing we want to focus on is also cleaning up this section very well to make it nice, like make it beautiful. By the time we will not be doing use states today because the time would not allow us. I would have used use states to categorize these sites, but we're going to go through it to a point whereby you will see where we start using it. But I'm going to get to that point. Okay, so let's get started. Our menu is supposed to be on the right hand side, and how have we implemented it? We implemented it on the header section, and if you see what we did was to provide a normal div and everything like that. And for the menu to work correctly, we are supposed to bring in JavaScript, but as you will know, we are doing React. We are not supposed to bring like inline JavaScript into what we are doing. So there's also a package for doing Bootstrap inside your React. To install it, you will go to your terminal. You go to your terminal here and you do npm install react-bootstrap. Once you go through the installation, you have React Bootstrap install, and this comes with quite a lot of stuff which you'll be seeing later. So now that we have it in place, you can actually import key components of the things you will be needing. Let's first of all remove all this navbar. We want to allow Bootstrap to style it itself. So we want this removed. We want to use React to do it. And that component that we just brought in, I'll put the link in the description so that you guys can see the full documentation of how it is done. So let's say we want to import nav, and look at the nav, guys. This nav here has a way of implementing it. Someone has written out a React tag to actually express nav itself. So instead of you writing HTML like this, there is something much more simpler that you can use to write that. So you can import nav. In fact, you can import a lot of things. Everything in Bootstrap can be imported. Something like even column. You can actually import column in React. The column that you guys normally use in React, you can actually import it. But I'm not going to do this kind of a thing. That's not what I'm trying to bring in. I'm trying to bring in nav, I'm trying to bring in navbar, and I'm also going to be using container. Now, the container that you guys are aware of, the normal container that we normally use, div class container, that is the container I'm bringing. So I'm going to be using these three guys to do all the things I want to do. I'm going to start with the container. This container that we've done here is actually not useful anymore, because I can actually remove this container and do a class name. I want to comment this one out. So what I want to do right now is have my container. So this is your, instead of writing div class container, you could do container like this. This is a thing, right? This one was designed, this is Bootstrap container, like so. And if you then want to put your class that is called pt-3, you know what this one is padding top 3. You could then specify class name and do pt-3. And if you inspect elements, you should see that it will look like this. So this is just like a synthetic sugar to just make it have what it needs to have. And wherever JavaScript needs to come to play, your container and everything will handle the JavaScript thing that needs to happen. So the next thing we go to do, if you look at the template, is to have your nav, and then you can have all these other things. So there's already a guide that I'm following, which will be in the, I'll share the link to you below so that you can check how to use React to do Bootstrap navigation and plus other things as well. So to do my logo section, I have my navbar and then I specify brand, followed by, I don't need any other thing. I just here specify process guide. And what do I expect? I expect process guide at the top left bar. So this is the same thing as saying this one here. Where is it again? Yeah, as saying this brand. It's as good as doing that. So in order not to waste time, let's keep moving and let's do this very, very fast. So I'm going to put our logo. I purposely comment out this section so that I can pick things that I want. So I need my logo here, and I put it inside where I have my process guide and I have my logo displayed there. The next thing that I need to do is to specify this guy that toggles. This guy that toggles. This, what I'm showing you at the bottom, is what was gotten from Bootstrap websites, because this one is how you do your nav bar using HTML. But this time around, I'm using React to do what I need to do. Next thing that follows is your toggler. That's what follows. And then we have it this way. So this one will toggle based on the size of your screen. That gives us that there, but we don't have any menu, so that's why it's not showing there. That's what that is supposed to do. And then we have our section for collapsing. The next section is what we denote here, that we have collapsible section and then our navbar. So we need to define our collapsible section, which is here, and the next thing that follows is to define the nav section and the nav item. So we have the nav class, then the link, the nav class followed by the link. So we have two more things to capture. So let's go ahead and have the nav section, which is going to handle all the whole thing coming up there. So here now we then have the link will come in. So let's have our link. So your link is called nav link. There is a giant thing I'm missing here, which is the nav bar. Not as much. Okay, so we have that. This encompasses everything. That's the beginning of the whole thing before everything will now fit into play. So let's go ahead and see what is going on here. So currently, if you can see it very well, we have color settings here, which we need to change to give us something different. So we need to remove this BG tertiary. We don't want that. And we want this to be able to show even on small. So I change it to expand small. So if I do something like this, that's when I need this to show. So you can see that we're having something better now than what we have before. Then let's go back to our responsive. I don't need this class name anymore. The other part I need is that this home should be on the right hand side, and that means I need to style the nav section to move to the right hand side. So there's a style we did here that helps us to move to the right hand side, and that's this section here that says deflex justify content end. So, and that is added to, I think it's added to the collapse section. So you can see our home is sitting right there. So quickly, to make our home clickable, we need to add our link. Remember this, guys, our link, that's from our React route DOM. So we need to add our link. So I'll just copy this and make this here. So this should point to home. We're in home already, so nothing will happen. So we need to select courses. We need to duplicate this for courses and for contacts. So I come here and I rename all these to what they are supposed to be. This should be contacts. So let's get to see what's going on if it's responding. So we have our home, we have contacts, we have courses, we have contacts. So our menu is working well and is now responsive, meaning we can have this kind of effects. It's kind of laggy. I don't know why it's laggy on my side. Let me see by doing, let me check some things. Okay, can you see that it's cleaner now? So it's not buggy anymore. So what the class name I introduced is messing with it. Let me now check what's happening. So the problem is coming from the nav collapse section. So let me see what is going on here. So in our menu system, let me remove the flex. So, but once it's larger, is it working? Okay, so the flex is giving, the problem. The flex is what is causing the problem for us. So let's repeat that again. When we have this, so it's not buggy anymore. So that's one thing we test. You have to test your system and make sure that it's giving you the result that you want. So for HTML, we could use the other one and it was working well, but for here, it doesn't want that the flex. So let's move on to the next thing, guys. The next thing is I wanted to change the font because I didn't like the font that I was seeing here. So I needed something more, and this is kind of a way for you to see how that works. So I go to Google Fonts, I have a font that I want to bring in, and that font is called WorkSense. That's the official font for Process Guide. When you go to Google Fonts, you have this, you are presented with this, and what you can do is you can download all the fonts that you want, but I'm just going to walk you through how to select your fonts. Just select all the fonts you want. I want to have all these fonts, so I'm picking them one after the other. This is going to be my official fonts, and when you are designing your own, you guys can also select all the fonts that you want. You can do your search. So Google Fonts is a nice place for you to get crazy wonderful fonts. And now that I'm done, I can then bring everything as import, not a link. I use an import, and this is everything here in the style. Then I can go to my styling. We have a styling page here and import it. Okay, I just introduce it in this section. Okay, it's copied now. So this is what we need to bring in all these fonts into here. Let's now go back to Process Guide site and see what we have. So let's implement the font. To implement the font, I tell it that everybody should now start using that font. Just do this. And what's the name of the font? The name of the font is called WorkSense. I say font family because you're going to need your own font. And that is it. So let's move on to the next thing we want to work on. So this is now my default font for a project. But let me just spend a few seconds here and clean this section up a little bit. So what I want to do here is to maintain a strong position. So I have a new class called fw-bold. Just makes it bold. That's too bold. But I want something bold. Okay, so let me do, instead of having display 5, let's do font size 5. Let me then do bold. No, this is too much. And I will let me use what they've done as well. But this time around, I will implement what exactly I want. So these numbers denote the boldness or the width of the font. So I will use this to denote exactly what I want. I don't need to specify. Okay, let me use importance. So me now, I'm now in control of what I want. So instead of even saying bold, I'll just say font width 500, font width 400. 400 happens to be the normal size of font. So font width, I do 500, and there we go. So let me see what 600 will give me. What has been showing since is, so this is way better than what I was getting before. So 600 is just fine for me. So the next thing I wanted to touch base on is also to add more context to what we have on the screen. Because apart from you putting, don't just limit your content to one thing. If you can express yourself more, please do. That's on that first banner that you have. So what I want to do here is that people should be able to search for courses. They should be able to search for courses here. So I will do something like this. Okay, so I will touch base on this one later, but while I'm doing that, let me also specify the class name of this one to have, or I can just put everything here and focus on the bottom to be 3. Let's do 2. Okay, so the bottom of this one can be 5. So that is not good. What we can do is to limit the top to, let's say, 1. I want to push this one up. So let's do this. Okay, it's better that way. So the idea is that people should be able to search the courses that they want to get from the home page. This banner should give them that, access to be able to do that. Let me space out the top to be 4. Yeah. So let's move on, guys, to the next thing. And the next thing I want us to do is that I want us to do more here on this section. And our next class is going to play around with this in a such a way that these things will be dynamic. You can actually specify which kind of course you want. I've gone ahead to update the data to now specify the image, right? The images that should show in this part. Remember that we're not passing any image to it. We're just rendering a static image. So things are about to change now. And look at what we did. We only have one tag to specify, or one component that is going to do all this for us, and that component is called course group. In this course group, we should be able to filter what we want to see. We'll get to that part, not today, but what we are doing today, we prepare us against that. So let's go ahead and specify the images that we want to capture here, and each of the section contain one course. So we have a deeper kind of tag or React components that depends on one, that depends on the other one. So let's go ahead and specify the image. This is where the image is sitting, and the way the image comes in, the image is specified in form of props. Look at the way we capture the props this time around here. We didn't do it like the other one that was specified. Like I mentioned, it's better we specify individual props, but anyone you do is still okay. Props dot info dot images image. So when you do that, the image that I've gone to specify the image, guys. So we have those image all there. The next thing I think is missing is, you can see that the distance between these guys are tied to each other. So you can use under here, this is where the whole thing is being specified, each of the columns. But under here, the row, you can specify that it has G, there's a G, and that's gap. You can specify the gap, and that's what I just did now. I specify the gap of each of the column. That's what the G-4 does, and that's the benefit of knowing Bootstrap. You can just make things like this snappy for you to be able to deal with. I don't know why these edges are not very well curved. So this one is, I think it's attributing to the fact that the image is coming to affect things here, but we can have that corrected in the style sheet. Let's work on the style sheet a little bit and correct the image that is coming in. And this is, so let me see the style, what's responsible for it. So this is our card body, but there's a card and then there's the image here. So we need to focus on card.image. Card.image. Border radius, let me just say 20. I want to see the result immediately. This, shows that it's working, right? So that we don't go and start doing something that we don't know. So, but we're focused on the top right and left. So I just go ahead and do border radius top left and top right. Okay, so let's try 4. Bootstrap is supposed to handle this for us. I don't know why Bootstrap is not handling it for us, but that's fine. That's fixed now. Let's move on to the next thing. So the next thing we want to do is to proper style. This is not properly styled. We have so many things not sitting correctly the way they should sit. The fonts are not in their right proportionate. Let's go ahead and do that. First of all, I need to do my font width. I think I need other width now. I need 300 because that will help my next styling. I need 200 and I need 100. Okay, so my next styling is to style these lessons. It's too big. Let's see where we have it. Is in one course and we have lessons here. It's not styled at all. So we'll have our class name. So font width, so let's see 200. That's too light. Let's see 300, and then let's change the font size to okay. Moving on to the next thing is our ratings. Our ratings is supposed to be like a star to show what is going on. So let's put our icon star there. But now we'll just put some fictitious value there for now. I can just say 4.5. Okay, I think this size is cool. Moving on, the next thing we want to do is the cost. The cost color needs to change to, let's say, blue, and I think it needs to stand out. I think strike through is S. So if I put X, yeah, that's strike through. So instead of styling it, we can just put one strike through there. And the discount should be, what's the calculation for discount? So let's go ahead and do our discount. Okay, so I need to style this guy. I need arrow pointing forward, arrow bar up, arrow down cycle. Arrow right circle. Yeah, like, okay, let's do fill. Then you can then play with colors to give you, like, you can then pick maybe a color theme. But we've already done too much red. But we can just maintain the non-fill one. You can just maintain the one that is not fill, and you're okay. Okay, guys, let's move on to the next thing. Now that we've been able to do this, what I want to do, you can see that it's bringing life to the website. And that's the idea of what we are doing. So let's go into what I want. What I want to do is ability for you to filter the content of what you are seeing here. But we're not going to do that today. I'm preparing the stage for it such that you will have category of courses here. These courses, I've been able to group them into 3 different categories, which will be basic or novice, intermediate, and advanced. So if you look at the data, I have level called novice, I have another one called advanced, intermediate, novice again, intermediate, advanced. You can do a filter to give you that button here automatically, to give you all the buttons obtainable from the database, where you can have the 3 things that we've mentioned here automatically. But I will just do it manually. Let me just do it manually, but I don't know if I don't know if I should do it automatically or manually, but let's go ahead. Let's go with the flow. Now, where would you put that in the program? At what point will you start expressing that information? Of course, it's not in one course, because this is what is doing one course. This box here is one course. The whole thing is what triggered by course group. So your information should sit where? On the top here. So if I do HR here now, for example, and outside here I can do my buttons, right? So do you see where the button sits? This is exactly where I want my control to be, because while I'm looking at the content, I got to this part and say, okay, can I view by intermediate? Can I view by, advanced, like that? So you will have these things like this. You will have it like this. This is just a view. So you have advanced, intermediate, and then you have novice. So you have something like this, and then you should be able to interact with them and trigger the kind of content that you want to do. Thank you for staying to the end. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you in the next one.